Shoot, I said I was gonna do a mason bee tutorial and I forgot, and I really need to get these guys out of here, so let's do that now. All right, as you can see, I took these mason bees out of their home, which is up there, June this year, and I should have taken them out of their blocks around December, but I did not, because life happens. Let's see if we got any keepers in here. Yeah. Looking good and looking bad. So that is a healthy cocoon, and then this fuzzy stuff is not healthy cocoon. One moment, let's get a macro lens. All right, this here healthy cocoon, the black bits, those are poop that the mason bee larva pooped while it was creating its cocoon, so it should be a healthy bee in there. This, on the other hand, those are pollen mites. Let's see if we can get in here. You might be able to see them move. They might be a little sleepy. But yeah, so this is why we want to harvest our mason bee cocoons, because pollen mites get in there and they eat the larva of the mason bee. Little holes. So I know it looks crazy, but I'm just going to take this screwdriver and push all of these out. I can't do it with one hand, so I'll go find my tripod. Okay, tripod in hand. I hope this is going to be in focus. Moving my stuff around. This is how you do it. Boom. Just like that. And that's what we're looking for. Healthy little cocoon. So yeah, as you can see, these are some pretty healthy cocoons here. We'll wash them off. We'll get another look. Let's look on the next layer. And this is really cool. So this is a different mason bee, I believe, with that colored poop compared to that one. Gotta refresh my memory, but I'll keep these ones separate. Hey, this one's pretty good. Look at all these guys. Nice healthy row right there. So that's a pollen ball that was left over. That larva didn't make it, and that's what that looks like. Pretty cool. Okay, now we have all of our little bebés in this cookie sheet. What we're gonna do next is rinse them off using a kitchen colander. Yep, look at that. All right, here we go. I just laid them out on a paper towel so we can inspect them and dry them out. There will be some non-viable ones that we're gonna have to pick out. Already sometimes you can see these little cocoons that didn't, something happened there, made a cocoon but then died. And then in the case of parasitic wasps, you'll actually see a perfectly round little hole in the cocoon where the wasp has escaped. Let's see if I can, I think we're looking pretty good. Look at this little guy. So, okay, and then another fun thing is you can tell which one is male and which one is female by this. These little itty bitty ones are the boys, and these big ladies are the ladies. Now, the reason why we harvest these rather than just leaving them in these wood trays is because you saw the way that they were lined up in there. And if there's one guy here that's dead or got covered by pollen mites and didn't make it, everybody behind him, they have to crawl through that to get out. And they maybe can't crawl through it because, well, they're stuck, or they do crawl through it and they just get those pollen mites covered all over them. And then they spread those in your yard and everybody else gets pollen mites. So that's why we harvest the mason bees, so you can wash off all those pollen mites and other bad things and then put just your fresh, healthy cocoons back out. Sadly, I have seen in person what happens when you don't harvest them. I just put my block out the next year, and then when I harvested it that year, I found bees that had hatched and were stuck, and they had just died in the tubes, and it was pretty sad. Now the thing is, since I'm doing it so late in the game, these dudes are ready to go. They're probably pretty hungry, their storage reserve is gone, and they are ready to hatch. And so I'm gonna dry them off, maybe take them inside, put them in the fridge uncovered so that they get a little bit extra dry, and then I'm gonna put them in a paper cup and set them out. Actually think I hear one starting to hatch already. I'll keep my eye on it. All right, so while we're waiting for those beehives to kind of dry out in the fridge a little bit, let's clean our house. Very important that you clean the house. I saw a lot of pollen mites, so let's get to scrubbing. All I'm gonna do is use water and a good firm brush, and then maybe I'll spray it down with a little bleach solution afterwards, but just the scrubby scrub should be enough. You can also get paper tubes for housing for your mason bees, but I find these to be so much easier to deal with. It takes one tool to get them all out of there, a quick scrub with the brush to clean it up, and stack them to dry, and you're ready for the next year. The tubes you have to tediously open up or throw them all in a bowl of water and soak it, and then gently peel the cocoons out of the big pain in the butt. And these are reusable year after year after year. The tubes are one-time use, so food for thought. Day 2, I decided to leave the cocoons in the fridge overnight because they were pretty darn wet, and it was getting late in the evening, cooling down, so I wanted to make sure they were really, really dry before I put them out. And also I realized after scrubbing the house, I needed to let that dry off too. So everybody has dried off, and now we are back in the yard, and I'll show you just how simple it is to set your bees out and let them go for the spring. I collected 57 viable cocoons in my tiny little urban garden. I don't have a lot of sun, so I don't have a lot of flowers, and if the bees don't find food in your yard, they will continue flying into somebody else's yard, and they may not come back to your house, so make sure you get some goodies for them. I got my 57 cocoons here. They're looking all pretty darn good. There was one that is kind of squishy looking, but I have seen them still hatch. This guy, he's a little squished. Never gonna get in focus, but he's a little squished. I'm still gonna let him go. He might still hatch. Probably forgot to say this earlier, but we're putting our bees out now because it has been consistently over 55 degrees for a few days, and I do see stuff blooming like dandelions. They love dandelions, and you'd be surprised how many trees are actually blooming right now. Maybe not the showy cherries or crab apples, but maples and other trees are actually putting out some weird little flowers that you kind of can't see, but the bees do. So that's why we're putting these bad boys out, and girls. That and because they're probably ready to go. I usually use a little paper cup that I cut down to just a couple inches tall. I do not have a paper cup on hand, so we're going to use this little Tupperware. And got my house back there, and the wood block is going to go in that part, and then the bees, they go up in the attic. That way the birds don't see them because they do look like delicious M&Ms. As you can see, I've painted my bee house yellow because yellow and blue are a couple of the colors that they like and can see. So I went with yellow, and we're just going to put that guy right there. And if I can reach it, we're going to slide that guy. Oh no! It won't fit. All right, let's go get another container. There we go. Whoop. Perfect. All right, so they go right up there in the attic, and then when they hatch, they will crawl around, and we'll know that they've awoken because you will see signs of little poops on the ledge. And then hopefully they'll say, hey, look at this sweet pad. That looks like a good place. And then fly off, find some food, and hopefully come right back. All right, and it's that easy. Mason bees are super fun and extremely beneficial pollinators in your garden. They pollinate far more than honeybees do because they're really fuzzy, and they're also not picky. So the fuzz will pick up the pollen, and they'll go to all sorts of plants in your garden, as opposed to honeybees that really just stick with one plant back and forth, and they slap that pollen onto their thighs and then take it right back to the hive. Honeybees, mason bees really good pollinators. And they're also generally stingless. They're very mellow bees, and apparently if you get them really riled up, they might sting you, but it just feels like a mosquito bite, I've been told. So very gentle bees, fantastic pollinators, super easy and fun to have in your yard. So check it out, mason bees, pollinate it.